There you go. Hey, there you go.
The hell's going on in here?
That's a nice setup.
Classy.
Glad you dressed the set for us.
I'll tell you, that room has not changed at all, has it?
The hell's going on? Hold on, keep talking. I'm trying to figure
It's
something
like Blair Witch Project.
out. It feels like it.
No, we'll wait.
Yeah, you work on that. I'll just get to a football take following what Mike Giardi said there on NBC Sports Boston last night. He's got a couple of points that stand out. He said, number one, what are you waiting for? Fire Bill today. Fire him Friday after the game. Don't wait. There's no purpose in waiting. And I think there is some truth in that. I just think it's unrealistic to expect it because I don't think these owners want to fire the guy in season. They don't want to do it. So that's part one. But, okay. The part that I did find interesting, and I don't know that we've ever looked at it from this angle, and that is, he said, they drafted a quarterback at 15th back in the 21 draft and passed on a bunch of other really good players that they could have drafted in that spot other than a quarterback. My instinct is to respond with, well, they needed a quarterback, so they had to use the pick on the quarterback. And I think I've said many times, as have most people, have said, well, they needed the quarterback. They did the right thing in trying to get one. But if I could just sort of read into what Mike is saying, I think what he's saying is, had you had a better plan post Tom Brady for a quarterback, you're not in the position of needing to draft Mac Jones in that draft in 2021. You're in a position to take another talented player in the first round. So add that to the list of failures in building a roster, that you were in a position where you had to take the quarterback in 2021, and therefore you missed on a bunch of other good guys. Right. And I would say letting Joe Thuney leave left you in a position of wanting to draft Cole Strange in the first round. Right. And look how that's worked out. And that's another first-round pick where you had to use it in a spot that you could have used on other good players that were in the draft. So
have you really replaced Marcus Cannon? Have you replaced who's the other guy? Cam Fleming? Like Marcus Cannon was a pretty good fixture here for a while. You really had to hold Trent Brown's hand when he was here with Dante Scarnecchia, but you're right. Like you get rid of a guy like Thuney and there I am. Hey guys, thanks a lot, Matt. You franchise Thuney, you better plan for him, and they didn't seem to plan for him. But they got a guy, reach for a guy out of Tennessee Chattanooga that everybody laughed at. Am I there?
Yep. No, I just been making sure you had your. Everybody was laughing, including the LA Rams. They were literally laughing at the Patriots making that pick. But it just speaks to, again, leaving yourself high and dry at multiple positions, needing to then try and draft at those positions, using high picks to draft at those positions, and ultimately missing on those picks, which if you could have redirected them to other positions of need, you may have had a better roster.
Let me ask you this, too.
Players.
Talk about Rob Gronkowski. Now, obviously, you know what happened with Aaron Hernandez, but they ended up getting Martellus Bennett to have a pretty good backup to Rob and a 1-2 tandem there. When those guys were done and left, what was the plan at tight end?
They went into the draft.
Matt Lacoste.
They took Asiasi and Keene.
They failed at the draft again. Not only did they fail at the draft at the tight end position, but at the receiver position. We could keep going. Tackle position, guard position. I mean, I think Michael Winter's a good pick. They fell in a lot of draft positions. Like, you're right. It was Asiasi and Keene.
Yeah, 2020.
Asiasi played a little bit. That was it. They picked the wrong tight ends.
Both of them top 100. 91 overall for Asiasi, 101 for Keene.
The sad thing is there are good young tight ends that could play in this league and that were picked after them, where they chose those tight ends. The problem is they're picking the wrong guys. Whose fault is that? You need a better picker.
It is pretty remarkable, too, that you can go back to that 2021 draft where they had to take Mac Jones at 15 overall because they had no plan post Tom Brady. You can be forgiven for maybe not having a plan at the second corner position. Maybe you don't have somebody, deep on one of your linebackers. You don't have anyone to replace it. You didn't have a plan for the most important position on the football field starting at the beginning of 2019. Right. So instead, you take whatever you just could find in Cam Newton. And after that didn't work, you were forced to use the highest pick you had had in years to take Mac Jones, which initially looked like it might be okay. Turns out it's not going to be okay. He doesn't even play now. And instead of using that position to maybe find somebody that could have helped you now, all you would have had to have done is had some plan, just some plan at the quarterback position back 4 years ago, and you had nothing. No plan whatsoever. And you knew he was leaving, and it didn't change how you approach things. You just took Cam Newton because he was out there and he was available and he wasn't going to play for anyone else.
Bingo.
And you only knew what we could pay him, that $1 million, because we didn't have any other money. Right. Charlie White said on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then double down with him. And maybe that's part of the big reason. Cam, you come here, we can only play you $1 million, but I tell you what, you're going to start every game. That had to be part of the promise.
Also in 2020, the Patriots traded out of the first round. Remember that? Remember when they traded out of the first round? They weren't interested in making a pick there. They traded, I think, with the Chargers at the time. It took a pass. I mean, if you go back and look at that first round, two guys we were just talking about and have been talking about this season. One is Jordan Love, went 26 that year. Granted, he had to sit behind a guy for a few years and develop, but I don't think he was ready year one. And a guy by the name of Jalen Hurts went 53 overall in that draft. Oh. So that spring of 2020, you could have thought to yourself, okay, we're not going to get Burrow or Tua or Herbert. Those are all top 10 picks. We don't have a top 10 pick. But the next guy's on the board, end of the first round, Jordan Love. Second round, Jalen Hurts. Could have made a move for either one of those guys because you knew at that point that Brady had just left. Brady left in March of 2020. In the draft that year, you could have taken a quarterback right away and said, well, we don't think he's going to start right away. We're going to have to head in another direction and pick up a veteran in the meantime. But we're going to at least take a swing here, right?
Right.
How'd that work out?
Not good.
They didn't take
Not good.
They didn't do it.
They were content bringing Cam back after that year, too. So
yeah.
It was going to be the year they drafted Mac, because we still need a veteran presence there, even though you did have Stidham and all that. But, Stidham failed. They took him in the fourth round. So it's like they tried to start planning, and it was trending right for him, and that thing just fell off the wagon. But the draft picks are the reason they're in the position they're in today. It's not failures at free agency. It's the draft. You build good teams through the draft. And they have not had good drafts.